publicly said that he has 2 wives, he has 4 children, and that he's very proud of his wife.
So this video, it gets all parts for his side. He get the good parts, he get the bad part, he get the encouraging part, he get everything. So this video now the youngest president. God, I really thank God. Say Africa don't constantly get young president. Senegal. And I know say they put that young man will be say they just released for Kri. Now you come with the president of Senegal, the very most youngest president in Africa. But the man come with another logo. He come with 2 wives. He stand with 2 hands, not be only one. So for those of you who never see that video, may they give you. But one thing where I like about Senegal this time is that the country elects their person. And when I know what think when they make me when they bring this video come for now. The most shocking part, our Baba Emiloko is still there. You know, see that young guy. You know, see how the guy they vibrant like you. They see and say this is full of. Wanna see you.
Issue there. You know, she was criticizing polygamy, where Mariam Abba being a feminist. Now there are also books like Lola Shunein's The Secret Lives of Baba Segi's Wives, which is about, the politics within a polygamous setting. So that speaks to your point about not wanting to share and all that. So there are many perspectives. And there are those who say, oh, it puts a woman down. But what I was saying earlier when, we spoke with Ohi, who is on the ground in Senegal, is that this is also another first for BDF. The first president that will publicly, show off his 2 wives. And that again speaks to your point about equal treatment. And the 2 wives are adults. They are not complaining. On top of it, he's also a Muslim. Yep. And he's entitled, they say, in the Islamic doctrine, to 4 wives. Now, but what is more important also is his projection of an important part of the culture in Senegal. There may be people, speaking publicly against polygamy, but it's a common practice. And then, secondly, of course, we see a president that is advertising religious harmony in the house. When you talk about culture of religious harmony and of tolerance, which is a major sociological issue in multi-religious societies in Africa. So you find, BDF, showing this example. And by the way, the 2 of them are very beautiful women. And now that he's president, nobody should rule out the possibility that he will take a 3rd wife. and he will take a 4th wife.
Wait, there's space for 2 more.
Yes, we have
as president, it's,
But what are the economic implications now? With
president of Senegal?
It's 2, the office of 2 first ladies now. So they have to change.
In Nigeria, on one occasion, have you forgotten? Yes. I don't want to mention the gentleman's name. There was a governor in this country who had 3 wives. One of them was, in fact, a judge. And he distributed the positions. Yes. You be in charge of this, you be in charge of that. And for the 8 years that the man was governor, there was no conflict. No, here in Nigeria, a governor, 3 wives, the positions were properly distributed. Yes. And they worked together in harmony.
Okay.
People can argue for and against, and I get the argument. I mean, there's been a lot of scholars that have written about polygamy and everything. For me, I don't feel let's make that a priority. Yes, it's the first in Senegal. The reason why it's generating the conversation is because it's a country where a lot of people like to show they are monogamous, but actually they are polygamous in nature. All right, it's that kind of society. So it's another one, and I get very varying opinions as regards it. Their religious injunction as regards it and all of that. But for me, the point of view I want to talk about is the effect of polygamy on children that came from polygamous homes. It's not always that easy on them. Yes, they might get along, but a lot of brickbats. And some people will also argue and say that, to a large extent, children, that came from polygamous homes, some of them have it very good, but most of the time, we see the debilitating effect it has on them psychologically and all of that, and how it pretty much ruins relationship and things like that. And some of them are loggerheads till date. So whatever it does, as long as it builds Senegal, that's the priority. I mean, let's let the man be. He's made his decision. He's an adult. you can't change from his decision. People will just talk and will constantly kick off conversation. So let's focus more on Senegal and let the man breathe. I mean, people that support polygamy will always support polygamy. People that have nothing against it will always have something against it. So there will always be two
well,
sides
there's always that argument about the creation of monogamy and polygamy. In Africa, polygamy is accepted, right, Dr. Abati? I can see your face.
You know,
but
like
hold
Ayo
on.
was saying,
Ayo, I
some
wanted
people
to
don't
say
like
something.
to share. Some people also argue with you, Ayo, that there's love in sharing.
There's love in sharing.
I mean, so
before we go, I wanted to talk to you about Aba Falls. Have you heard about her controversy on social media where Aba Falls, the second wife, and people are telling her that she should just maintain because she's going around, you know, posting different videos and not acting like a first lady. So they're asking. Ayo was correct.
We'll see in 4 years' time.
But Dr. Abati, one thing I can tell you is you can say I have experience in nothing.
Yes.
When it comes to bedroom matters.
Yes.
But one thing I can tell you
Like
for
the
free.
Pope.
One thing
You offer advice on marital issues.
One thing I can tell you for free is, Dr. Abati, even as men, it is not always easy when you have to share something intimate.
Okay.
With
You have experienced it before.
I can tell you for free.
Right, giving advice.
I can tell you for
The
free.
Pope offering advice on marital matters.
I can tell you for free. It's not always, and you know it, Dr.
The
Abati.
violence on this table is too much. Well, all
It's
right.
not always easy.
Let's take another story, shall we? Well, all right. We'll take another story. A recent article by the BBC has revealed that some of the rescued Chibok secondary school girls abducted by Boko Haram terrorists in Borno State have chosen to abandon their families and remain with their insurgent husbands. Yama Bulum, one of the parents of the abducted Chibok girls, told the news outlet how outraged he feels about the Borno State government housing his daughter, Jinkai Yama, and her husband, a former insurgent. Yama was one of the 276 girls kidnapped from a secondary school in the early hours of April 14th, 2014. She now resides in the city of Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, in a housing organized by the state's governor, Babagana Zulum. Mr. Bulum said he only found out that his daughter was married to a former insurgent after she called him to tell him last August. But before then, he had assumed that his daughter was living with other freed Chibok captives in a special welfare program. The Borno State Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Zawira Gambo, when contacted about the freed women and their husbands, said the women were in no way coerced into staying with their spouses in the housing estate, stating that the freed women usually insist that without their husbands, they will not stay in Maiduguri. I mean, what do I call this? Ayo, Stockholm Syndrome? And the federal and the government is supporting it. I mean, I think this issue needs to be looked into critically, because I mean, we've always talked about this de-radicalization of these and rehabilitation of these insurgents back into the society. Yes, they have confessed. Yes, they have come out to be de-radicalized. But there is that issue of these women wanting to be with their abusers because they have said that they found their husbands when they were kidnapped.
So very quickly, I'll say, you touched on it, Stockholm Syndrome, absolutely. And I don't think, in fairness, that the government should support this. The first thing, even though I hear what the Commissioner of Women Affairs has said, the truth is that even if she wasn't coerced to live in the housing, was she willing to have married her captor while she was taken away forcefully? So the basis of her even meeting the man in itself was flawed.
Yes.
So it was flawed in terms of the fact that it was through a criminal activity and criminal action. She got into captivity. There's such a thing as Stockholm Syndrome, where you fall in love with your captor and begin to see him in a different light. And then coming back, I can't imagine how disheartening it would be for her parents to find out that the same people who captured their children have now become the husbands, and she's now saying, I believe that one of the first things we must emphasize when these children are brought back, or the girls are brought back, or men and boys, they must go through rehabilitation. Yes. They must go through psychological evaluation, and they must go through government paid for psychological help. A lot of these people will face trauma that they may not wake up from years to come. One day, this young girl will wake up and think, where am I? What am I doing? Yeah. Because she's psychologically traumatized. We cannot act as if we are ignorant, and I believe that the government owes it to these young girls to preserve their lives and their future. They've lost a lot of years already. Yes. That girl has to undergo severe psychological treatment and attention before she can before she's put in a position to say that this is what her decision is. The reason I'll go back to saying the foundation on which the relationship is based on is flawed.
Yes.
It makes anything built on that foundation totally flawed in my
well
my
said,
perspective.
Aya. Apparently she's not the only
Those 2
girl.
points. Some of
There
those
are
girls
more-
now, they've
there are
become
other
adults.
girls, yes.
In the BBC story that you are referring to, the lady that was interviewed, she's already 22 years old. Her parents have not given up. I bet she insists. In fact, it has reached a situation whereby when those parents that you showed, when they phone her, she no longer picks their calls. It's the husband that picks their calls. And the commissioner was saying that, look, to even get these girls out of the forest, they insisted that if their husbands were not allowed to follow them, they will not come. So yes, Stockholm syndrome at one level, but now these persons have become adults and they decided to become Muslims. And some of them, you know, when that lady was interviewed, he said the people saying they should leave their husbands, they don't understand. You are women. What is it that people don't understand when a woman says, this is my husband and I'm staying with him?
Well, I don't understand that.
No, go and read the story.
Well,
go and read the story. She said
they
don't, that people don't understand.
I've never been abused and stayed with a woman or a person that I've been abused. So it's a different case, completely different case.
It's just like
you cannot be abused and say you want to be with them. So it's complete trauma.
Is when you have an unbundling of the trauma now that those people will not get to understand. They've known the trauma all this while. They've adapted. If you understand the traits of human beings, adaptability is part of them.
Correct.
They've learned to adapt to the trauma. It doesn't justify the trauma itself.
Some of them have children.
Yeah, but
yes, it's trauma.
The two concerns will be that, well, they were denied the opportunity to have education because of the experience that they went through. 2, those terrorists, those bandits that were rehabilitated, it is unfortunate, you know, they are even benefiting from their crime. And that the Nigerian state did not apprehend them and punish them. Instead, they offered them a camp, accommodation where they could live. And they are even having wives and raising families.
This is unacceptable.
It
needs to be looked into. The Borno State government.
How would they look into it?
Well, we have
they will stop the marriages.
Yes, it is important for them to go through psychological evaluation. They need to be involved in these children's mental state. Like we said, it is Stockholm syndrome. Children. They were children when they were abducted, and they are still at this moment unaware of what they're going through. We'll take another story.
Years after they snap out of it. They know themselves now.
Well, let's take another story. The First Lady of Nigeria, Remi Tinubu, has made a passionate call for Nigerian youth to embrace their national identity and promote unity, transcending ethnic and cultural divides. Speaking at an event hosted at the State House in Abuja on Monday, the First Lady emphasized the importance of prioritizing Nigerianness over narrow ethnic or cultural affiliations. Let's take a quick look.
I'm glad that you are talking about unity and peace. It's very, very crucial for us. You see that your uniform it transcends our tribes, our different cultures, and that's what we want to do with this unity fabric. Because when somebody dresses, we say, oh, he's from Akwa Ibom, he's from Yoruba, he's Igbo. It's not that we are losing that out, but there should be a confluence of all of us, like a melting pot. This is who we are as Nigerians. And I think we have to start talking about our Nigerianness. I will call it that we are Nigerians first before we start breaking down into tribes and different culture. But am I saying we should do away with our culture? No, that is who we are. You know, we can bring it to the table in a more unified way, not in a place of arrogance or I'm better than this, and because we have to forge ahead for a Nigeria that should be greater than any tribe or any individual. So I don't know what it will be, but I think we need that place of unity, and that's why we tagged it the unity fabric.
Well, I love this story. Rufai, only yesterday we talked about Air Peace and the Ishagu outfit, and we talked about, you know, showing the fact that the company is pushing the Nigerian narrative, and it's just refreshing to hear the First Lady almost re-echoing our points that we made yesterday on the program.
I can't say it enough. Kudos to this woman every
she's
time.
Doing very
well.
She
tries as much as possible to make the right sound bite, you know, to push this country forward. Probably maybe because she's one of the most experienced first ladies, you know, we've had in recent times, you know, a very seasoned senator before she got into the position, and she can only do better. We need more cohesion. The case of Ishiagu does not matter. But real quickly, I want to quickly balance the conversation out. And this is for all the supporters of polygamy in Nigerian context and in African context, fine. Hope you people will not be against polyandry too. The capacity of women to be able to marry more than one man.
Violence, Rufai. Well, all right.
Polyandry, and there are many people who are dealing with the challenges of homosexuality.
All right.
Also, yes, brotherhood to brotherhood, sisterhood to sisterhood. So don't let us go there. Otherwise, we will not leave this table today.
I think balance the conversation.
No, I'm searching for it.
Because of brotherhood. If it's good for a man to marry more than one, can a woman also marry more than one husband?
The theory is there: polygyny, polyandry, and then
we have to have a whole
ACDC, sisterhood to sisterhood, brotherhood to brotherhood.
But you know where you're coming from. Shall we move on to the next story? Well, still in Nigeria. Forbes magazine yesterday released the 38th edition of its World Billionaires list for 2024, and Aliko Dangote, Mike Adenuga, Abdul Samad Rabiu, and Femi Otedola emerged as the only Nigerians on the list. Forbes' World's Billionaires list is a ranking of every person on the planet with a net worth of $1 billion or more as of March 8, 2024. Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, maintained his position, recording $13.4 billion as of April 2nd, while Nigeria's second richest man, Mike Adenuga, followed with a net worth of $6.7 billion. Abdul Saman Rabiu and Femi Otedola, according to the new report, were worth $5.2 billion and $1.7 billion, respectively. Femi Otedola, who is the chairman of Geregu Power PLC, has been in the news lately after the company pledged to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's power sector reforms during its 12th annual general meeting, while highlighting a $500 million investment in power plant transformation. The Forbes list of billionaires in the United States now boasts a record of 813 billionaires worth a combined $5.7 trillion, with 34-year-old superstar Taylor Swift making the list with an accumulated fortune of $1.1 billion. Congratulations to that young girl. She had toured the story. I knew you wanted to talk about
Taylor Swift.
No,
I tried to defend you earlier. You know, during Rotus segment, there was a day Rotus came here and it was condemning the cost of wigs and all of that. So I now said, if you check the Forbes billionaire list, the youngest person there, 21-year-old, Kylie Jenner, is now on the billionaires list. She's selling cosmetics. Kylie Cosmetics. Maybe one day somebody selling wigs will also make
But why not? But of course, but why not? Congratulations to all of them. Femi Otedola, Dangote, the 4 Nigerians that have made
When are you going to make your own billion?
Very soon.
Always watching other people's work.
Very soon. Well, what makes you think I'm not a billionaire? It's just because of taxes I'm not. How much is money? It's nothing.
They told you. Okay, now that I know we have a billionaire on the table. No, but you know, Jinika, you know you always perform.
Okay, now
you have to perform.
Dr. Abati, you two are billionaires now. 2 billionaires on this table now.
Jinika is a billionaire.
Well, congratulations to all the billionaires. Well, all right. Shall we take our final story? In Enugu State, where a video showed the moment, a relative accused some officers of the police force of abandoning his uncle, who was reportedly kidnapped along the Eke Afa Arinze Road in Udu local government area of the state. under their watch. Let's take a look.
See the police people, Sam. This is the commander. The guy enter bush. Come and see. Police people now. Police people are here. The guy enter bush. They are here telling me they can't go anywhere. See them here. See police people. See them. All of them one by one. Come on, 15. Sam, see them. Yeah, but the police will tell me. They kidnap somebody now from my uncle. They kidnap now. They can't go and look for my brother. They say they can't go that bush. See them. See them. Look them one by one. See them. See them. Look them one by one. They can't go and get my brother. They say they won't get that bush. They are afraid.
All right, this is an unfortunate incident, Dr. Bati, in Enugu State. I mean, I cannot believe these people could not go into the forest.
If you will you go?
If I was a police officer, I would go now. I mean, I don't understand.
The policemen too were going around looking like this. They go again. If we've been criticizing the military for doing police work, but if it were soldiers, you know, they would not stand by. They would go in because our policemen. They are probably not trained to go after kidnappers. We don't know what they teach them in the police college. Maybe they have to take a second look at the curriculum. I mean, Nigerian policemen, even under ordinary circumstances, they will remove their uniform and take to their units. Because those policemen, they don't want to go into the forest and also be kidnapped.